Good morning, welcome to Sports Radio 1310, The Ticket. George DiGianni on the Train Station Fitness Show. My guest in studio, my good friend Morris Brosette. He said, George, we've got to cover a topic today that I think is so important to not only me, but my clients and everybody who just is living, specifically in targeting large cities. And I said, you know, Mo, I don't know how much I really want to cover that topic because I've done it many times before. It's part of my business, and he felt strongly that there's new information for people who may not have listened in the past, that we have to do some follow-ups on. And what we're talking about today is the body's natural ability to detoxify, which all doctors know about, all medical professionals know about, but where they fall short is the toxic burden that we experience and how our body's natural ability cannot function due to the exposure, both voluntarily and involuntarily throughout our lives, just by getting up and living every day. And so why it needs to be enhanced and how you can do that a little later on in the show. We'll give you several different options. So Mo, good morning, and talk to us about cleansing or detoxifying. What's going on?
Yes, good morning, George. Well, this is something, it's like you said, this is not a new topic. You've been talking about this for years. People have been talking about this for years, but we fail to understand fully why we need to detox and cleanse. And yes, you'll talk to doctors and you'll talk to other medical, quote, professionals that say, no, you don't need to cleanse. There's no sense in doing that. Your body knows how to do that naturally. And yes, they're absolutely right. In a perfect situation, in a perfect scenario, yes, your body can detox itself, but it's because you don't live in an urban environment where you're breathing in toxins every day when you drive down the expressway. You're not shampooing your hair and cleansing your body with these fragrant-filled products that are known to be endocrine disruptors and hormone disruptors and decrease testosterone. So all these things that we think we're doing that, you know, make us feel good,
smell good,
and smell good,
look
or
good.
actually they're killing us, right? So yeah, naturally our body can detoxify itself, but at the rate that we are exposing ourselves to these daily environmental toxins, involuntarily and voluntarily, our bodies can't keep up with the demand, all right? When I was in school in 2007, learning at the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, learning from every different scientist and doctor in every different facet of holistic wellness and nutrition, and these are MDs, not just natural doctors, they all promoted some form of cleanse or detox just because of what I just said, right? We can't keep up with the demand. So
coming up next, that's what I want you to do. I would love for you to be more detailed with what you just said, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Because, and maybe even paraphrase it, about how medical doctors today are recognizing the need to detoxify your body because of ... whatever that is.
Absolutely.
So coming up next, we're going to provide some facts for you in a life that you most likely live, where you must dilute the toxins in some form or fashion to help eliminate or minimize the symptoms you are experiencing. You say, George, I don't think I'm experiencing any symptoms. Well, we will share some of the symptoms you may or may not be experiencing that would make you think twice about whether you need to cleanse your body or not, or if it's doing the job that it needs to do on its own. We'll talk more with Morris Brosette, 705 Sports Radio 1310, The Ticket. 713 Sports Radio 1310, The Ticket. George DiGianni, Train Station Fitness Show. My good friend Morris Brosette is in the studio from Playtry. Morris, before we go forward, give people a little information about your background. Who are you? Why do you have all this knowledge?
I'm an international man of mystery.
Oh, yeah.
From Louisiana.
From Louisiana.
Right. No, I started studying nutrition back in 2005 and really came to a head in 2007 when I went to the Institute for Integrative Nutrition in New York. And there we learned every different dietetic theory in the world, and we learned from numerous medical professionals, both in the natural form, but also medical doctors, MDs, that now practice integrative or functional medicine. So most people are familiar with Dr. Andrew Weil. He was one of our big teachers. Dr. Mark Hyman. who was the medical director for Canyon Ranch for years.
We also have Deepak Chopra,
Yeah,
who doesn't do a whole lot of supplements.
Deepak
But
Chopra.
He's I believe he's a Harvard graduate too, by the way. He's a medical professional who took that different.
Yes, that blew my mind when I heard Dr. Chopra speak, and I understood his background. I mean, it took it to a whole nother level of understanding and thinking, wow, we really can change internally. But Dr. Barry Sears, the guy who wrote the Zone Diet, this man is amazing in his science and in his studies. So all these doctors I was able to learn from and take information from, and that really drove my passion further for studying natural medicine and healing. And after listening to these guys, I thought, and I didn't think, I knew I can change people's health and wellness and increase longevity naturally. Can make people better. We can heal the world, but there has to be that the person has to take charge. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. That's how medicine. That's how natural medicine works. But learning from these guys, learning about detoxing, right? And before I went to this school, it's funny because I had gone to a gross anatomy lab here in Dallas at Parker as part of a continuing education. And gross anatomy lab is basically when you explore cadavers, and we go through the muscular system and stuff like that. Well, a turning point was when one of the doctors showed us the lungs of a smoker, and then he pulled right beside. He said, "Now look at this. This guy never smoked a cigarette in the day of his life, but he lived in Dallas and drove down 75 for over 30 years, and the lungs were almost identical." And we were like, "What is that?" And he said, "That's pollution." Because that's what the exhaust from driving down 75 and living in an urban environment where you're exposed to these toxins daily will do to your body.
So let me take the other side of maybe the listener right now, the other side of the coin, who's thinking, how the hell does this person know that they had horrible lungs from driving down Central Expressway every single day? Where's the data to prove that?
Yeah. What? Have you ever driven down Central?
Yeah, but you know, why 75 and why not the tollway? And how do we know it was 75 and he wasn't just exposed to passive smoke from somebody who smoked in his family?
Yeah.
How do we know about these variables? And you know, I've got to be the person who's the devil's advocate for a moment, or plays the other side of the fence and says, you know, hold on a second. How can we prove this? I get that someone's lungs are not as healthy, even if they're not smoking, because of all the toxins that we're exposed to. But to have them say it's because of driving up and down 75 just is a little extreme for me, unless they have data to prove that.
Yeah, well, the data in this case was the man's lungs, the cadaver, because at that point in time, they could do whatever they wanted to it. So they were able to extract it, and through their research, find out exactly what the toxins were.
Perfect.
They can find that we can find heavy metals in your body. We can find out what exactly are the toxins that are building up in your system. So
and see if they're synonymous with what people are exposed to on 75 every day.
Exactly.
Perfect. That's a great answer. See, that's why I have to take the other side for a moment. Go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. But you know, and it's not just that; it's everything. Like I said, with the personal care products, which I'll go into in a minute. You know, all these things, like you look at the commercials for what is it, that company Axe or something like that, where it's all the sexy spray across your body. The girls are going to come to you. Well, that may smell good, but what that's doing is actually decreasing your testosterone significantly.
So if you get a girl, basically you can't get it up. Get it and don't get it.
The first couple
have
times,
it and can't
maybe.
get it. Have it and can't do anything with it. That is a good commercial.
Yeah, but you know, but it's things like that people don't understand, and it's not that it's going to do it initially. It's that build up over time, right? And I say this all the time to people. You know, you didn't get fat overnight. You got fat over the course of 30 years of not doing anything. Well, it's the same thing with toxins. You look at the rate of disease. You look at the rate of obesity. You look at the rate of Alzheimer's. All these diseases that are just killing us right now, literally. We didn't have this 50 years ago. We had it, but it was in, you'd never heard of it. It was in much smaller quantities. Yeah. So
the body has its natural ability to do what it was designed to do. There's something called phase 1 and phase 2 detoxification. All medical professionals are aware of this, but it's taken for granted that since our body has this natural ability, like Mo said in the very beginning of the show, to detoxify, the thought is that this can happen on its own regardless of the timeline that we live in. And in today's time, modern days, we are not able to, it's something called a toxic burden. We are not able to flush our system and go through the process of phase 1 and phase 2 elimination. It just can't happen. And so what we want to do now is first discuss some of the symptoms associated with someone who does not have the ability to properly detoxify. And it doesn't mean that if you have any of these that it's 100% related to detoxification, but it's certainly a contributing factor. Go ahead and go through some of those symptoms of toxic buildup due to chronic exposure to toxins.
Yeah, absolutely. Real quick before I get into that, a couple other things with pharmaceuticals, drinking water. We've heard about this the last couple of years. There are trace amounts of pharmaceuticals, of birth control pills, of all these things in our drinking water.
Xanax, I mean.
Yeah, exactly. So, and also people say, I eat organic, I eat healthy foods. Well, they've also found research that polar bears in the Arctic have residue of pesticides on them, because when crop dusters come, they spray it over and they dust the crops.
Yeah.
These pesticides bind to dust particles. When the wind blows, these dust particles carry. So
they go to the farm next door to you. That's the organic farm.
Exactly. They go to the organic farm. They go to the animals. They go to everything. So all these things are building up this toxic burden that you're talking about.
But people are saying, you know what? I'm tired of this, guys. I'm throwing my hands up. I might as well just eat conventional.
Right. But there are ways you can do it, and that's why we do what we do.
We'll talk about that a little bit later about of what you can do, even if you try to eat organic. So go ahead.
So, but I mean, if you're having digestive issues, if you're not going to the bathroom 2 times a day, and it's not solid, it's not a
you
good.
Mean moving your bowels.
You're not moving your bowels.
Pooping.
Yes. If you are chronically fatigued, if you wake up tired, if you have that quote 2:30 feeling every day, all day, if you can't think correctly, if you if you're starting to get that foggy brain, and you need some sort of stimulant, if you
aching joints, depression,
all that stuff, impaired blood sugar, female reproductive problems.
You can't have
now
a baby
more than ever.
I
mean, in the last 15 years, how many women have done alternate therapies to get pregnant? Again, we didn't have this issue 50 years ago, right? So anything like that, you're not sleeping well. All these issues are part of that toxic burden. If you're exercising your butt off, if you're trying every diet but you can't lose weight, your liver is not processing the way it should. It's not detoxing the way it should because of that toxic burden, because of all the foods and all these environmental toxins.
So let's get into some of that right now. You talk about our liver not working optimally, which your liver, if it's not working optimally, will not allow you to lose fat or the amount of fat you'd like to lose. So some people will lose a certain amount of weight and then they're stuck there and they can't continue to lose weight and they wonder why. You might have fatty liver, or you have issues with your liver not working, it's suboptimal. And so some of I have the top 10 toxic food additives that I'd like to share. We don't have enough time to share them all, so I will put them on the 21-day body makeover fan page today. And I'll just share a few of them with you right now, and I'll do it fast. Artificial sweeteners is number 1. Aspartame, it's found in Diet Coke, sugar-free Cokes, just sodas in general, even jello, gelatins, desserts, gums. Really, we know that these are bad for you. Aspartame turns to formaldehyde when it hits a certain, I think it's 96 degrees. And I wrote it in my book, 16 years ago now. I did a whole chapter on it with the leading aspartame doctor on aspartame poisoning, Dr. H.J. Roberts, and put that in my book. It's great science. Number 2, high fructose corn syrup. It's found in most processed foods, bread, candy, not certain type of candy, bread, flavored yogurts, salad dressings, canned vegetable cereals. Number 3, MSG. We've all heard about it before, monosodium glutamate. We always think of MSG and associated with Chinese food restaurants, but what you may not be aware of, they're also hidden with different labels, not necessarily MSG anymore. They're creative. Snacks, chips, cookies, seasonings, most Campbell's soup products, by the way, frozen dinners and lunch meats, and I'll give you one more. Trans fats. We know trans fats are used to enhance and extend the shelf life of foods such as margarine, chips, crackers, baked goods, fast foods. You notice there's the common denominator here. I keep going back to these additives that are in chips, fast foods,
Right.
sodas and stuff like that. I'll give you the list of all of them on my Facebook fan page, 21 Day Body Makeover fan page today. Morris, coming up next, what do we want to talk about? Some of the other things that are making us toxic, that even if we're not eating any of these, consuming any of these additives, how are we exposed to certain toxins that tells us we are toxic? How do you guys know? Just because you are in this industry, all of a sudden you're going to tell us that we're toxic? We might not be exposed to certain things, but I think if you live, regardless of the region you live in, you're going to be exposed to some of the things that we will share with you next. It's just that some people have a higher exposure to them. And then after that, we will give you a plan about how you can eliminate them. They say, Medical School 101, the solution to pollution is dilution. Okay, so
Nice.
something to consider. Coming up next with Mo, 725 Sports Radio 1310, The Ticket. We'll run through some of the ones you did right. 733 Sports Radio 1310, The Ticket. George DiGianni, Train Station Fitness Show. My guest in the studio, sports nutritionist Morris Brosette, discussing how we know that you're toxic. We know you are. And how do we know that? We ran through some of it in the last segment. We'll do the rest of it now. Then we're going to give you some type of plan, some information for you to make an educated choice. A little course correction in your life to make yourself healthy, not just healthier, but healthy. Go ahead, Morris.
Yeah, so like if you have chronic fatigue, if you have that foggy brain throughout the day, if you have joint pain, depression,
Digestive issues.
all sorts, anything like that, anything that doesn't seem right with your body and your mind, you are toxic. All right, we know this now. We know this through science. We know this through blood work. Okay.
And now, for people who may not be aware, I just need to interject this for a moment. They might say, well, how do you guys know I don't have fibromyalgia? Or how do you know I don't have this or that? I guess what's important for you to know is if you have one of these conditions, you're still toxic.
What?
Toxicity might or might not be a cause.
That's what I was about
But
to
if
say.
you have an ailment, you are toxic. Does that mean the plan we're going to give you will eliminate that? Absolutely not. We can't say that. Have we seen some of these eliminating factors from changes in the way people treat themselves? Lance Armstrong's one of them, by the way, regardless of what he did to win a race or not. Yes, we have. So this is important that you understand what we're trying to express here. Go ahead.
So I talked about some of the personal care products, but one, when I was doing research on this, really stood out to me, and I'm just going to read a bit of an excerpt from it. So it was a study that conducted by a lab that found one of the top colognes contained over 41 ingredients which were toxic to the skin, toxic to the respiratory tract, your nervous system and reproductive systems, and in some cases were known to be carcinogenic.
Mm-hmm.
So these are things...
Carcinogenic foods also, when you have the black part of the steak, when it's burnt, we know causes cancer. So if you do the black part of the steak and you're having certain healthcare products and certain things, certain food additives that I mentioned earlier, and it's on a chronic basis, you're making yourself sick. You're literally inviting disease, and you have the power to change that. Go ahead.
Yeah, and also deodorant, right?
Deodorant,
we know
yes.
now that aluminum,
Parabens,
yeah,
aluminum.
parabens, aluminum is a huge one. And a recent study showed that one application of a deodorant with aluminum in it is, I think, over two times the toxic or safe toxicity amount that your body can
I didn't
handle.
know that.
So you got guys that are putting deodorant on in the morning, then they go to the gym, they work out, shower, they do it again.
Well, now hold on. Deodorant is fine.
Right,
Antiperspirant is not fine.
Right, it's the aluminum.
So
that's in it.
aluminum,
Right.
parabens,
The
all that.
parabens, the
Make sure
sulfates.
you're getting the natural, and they also have what's great. Now, I'm so glad they've done this. Is usually the natural deodorants are the ones that are like the gel, and you have to apply them several times a day, and they stain your shirts, and they suck.
Right.
But they actually have the solids now that are deodorants.
Yeah.
Those
absolutely.
are great.
Yeah.
They do work very
Yeah,
well.
and
Go ahead.
another thing that I learned at my school was that your sweat doesn't really stink.
No, it's after it dries and you sweat again.
Right, but also it's the toxins. Like you know,
Sure.
when you are toxic and you sweat and you perspire, you're eliminating some of these toxins. That's one of the way you can detoxify yourself is by sweating.
Right.
So when you are toxic and you begin to sweat and you're like, whoa, you're that guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You
Hey, don't blame it on me. I'm just toxic.
exactly. That's okay. I'm detoxing my body, baby.
It's George's program.
Exactly. It'll be okay. Just give me 21 days.
There you go.
But no, so when I started cleaning up my diet and my nutrition plan, and I was reading about this stuff, I said, okay, I'm going. I'm all in. So I stopped wearing deodorant and I was cleansing my body. And
you had no friends, but boy, you are healthy.
man, I was.
And your girlfriend sleeps in a different house now.
It's great. But no, I sweat and it doesn't smell.
Yeah.
Right? But I'll tell you this, when I go off track, if I kind of, lax in my nutrition for a couple weeks, I can tell.
Sure.
And I'm like, wait a minute, who's that guy? Oh,
Yeah.
that's me.
Yeah.
But seriously, I mean, I've gone from 2007 till today without wearing any sort of aluminum-based deodorant. Oftentimes, I won't wear deodorant at all, especially in the summertime, and I don't smell.
Right.
Like your sweat does not smell. It's the toxins.
That's good to
So, but again, it's all these things. It's the sulfites. It's the polypropylene glycol that we're putting in our personal care products. All these things that are just disrupting our body.
So let's begin to move forward
Yeah.
now. I think people have a good grasp on how they live their life. Some of the food additives I talked about earlier, how you treat your body, the stresses that we're under, what we're exposed to, whether you like it or not. You are toxic. You don't have to be fat to be toxic. However, toxins are held in mesenchyme in your joints, and also connective tissue is what that is, and also held in fat cells. And so the more fat you have, the more toxins are held in those fat cells, the more of these symptoms you experience. And so Morris is on my program right now. He's not expecting to lose any weight, nor does he need to, but he can help his organs and glands work at their optimal levels. Let's start giving people a plan. It's not necessarily my program, but let's move them forward now.
Absolutely. And yes, I did start your plan. I started last week, and I didn't tell you this before, but and I've heard of your plan for years. People have asked me, because I've been in this industry for so long, have you done this? Have you heard of it? And I used to kind of just brush my aside. I said, no, I'm not going to do that. I don't need another cleanse. Right. But once I actually looked at it and looked at the ingredients and saw how you're cleansing these people, and you're right, you're not taking someone on some extremist diet. Mm-hmm. You're not taking someone on a 10-day juice fast where they have they can't sleep and all this other stuff.
Sure.
You're taking people and you're giving them the nutrients that their body needs in correct amounts to detoxify the system from within.
And you never feel like you're starving.
No,
you don't feel like you're on a diet.
I mean, when you look at your program and you look at the meal plan, you have bacon wrapped. What is it? Bacon wrapped
green beans.
Bacon wrapped green beans.
Yeah.
I told you, when I saw that, I was sold. You give me bacon and I'm cleansing. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
And butter.
That's a win-win.
Many years ago, for the people who lived inland, they were eating bacon for their omegas.
Yeah.
So they weren't eating fish because they couldn't get it. It's not like the fish truck pulled up.
Right.
So go ahead.
So, but it's these natural things, and people get misconstrued because they will do they go on a juice cleanse or a juice fast, or they do some sort of liver detox
For 7 days.
Right, for 7 days or 10 days, and then but there's no follow up to it. And I've heard of this over and over. One of the things that frustrates me to no end is the people that go on a cleanse or a juice fast, and then they have literally a margarita party or a pizza party at the end of it to celebrate losing whatever they did. Right?
One of the most popular questions when people finish, and I haven't had this in a while, maybe I've done a better job in my business to make it more complete and understandable, where people don't feel like they're on a diet, but people will often ask, what do I eat when I'm finished?
Exactly.
What does that mean?
Yes. You eat food.
You eat the way you've been
right.
eating.
You eat the way we show you how to eat, right? And again, I didn't look at your stuff until you sent it to me.
Yeah.
And I refused to. I was like, I don't want to look at this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But when I did, I thought, wow, this is kind of some of the things that I give to my clients and I recommend, because again, you're implementing whole foods, good healthy fats, good protein sources, all these things that we need. And you're doing it in the right amounts, and you're also just adding little bits of these helpful supplements for a short period of time to naturally start to detoxify the body, to enhance that, and to help eliminate that toxic burden. So, and people that going back to the liver cleanse, part of what I like about your 21-day body makeover is that It talks. You help people also to cleanse the colon out. So
Well, every single organ
everything is
gland.
organ.
It's not. I never understood why
Yeah.
just the colon or why just the
Right.
liver.
Well, the problem with the liver is some people do a liver cleanse, but
Yeah.
if you detox the liver into a backed up colon, you're literally poisoning yourself.
Yes.
Because all it's going to do, it's not going to flush out. It's going to be reintroduced into your bloodstream, and you're going to feel like crap.
Yeah. Yes.
So you're literally going to poison yourself.
Literally. Yes.
So with this, it's again we're giving people whole foods because you're giving something. You're giving whole food. You're giving these supplements. I still have to be able to function as an athlete, as a coach.
Good point.
I have to think on a daily basis. I have to be able to analyze files, and so I need my brain. When I go, how many people have done a juice cleanse and quit after the first 5 hours because they were ready to kill everybody in the room and eat their computer?
Right.
So we're not starving people with this,
Yeah.
right? We're actually feeding them, and we're doing it in a sensible manner.
And you finally found a company that you like the purity of the ingredients.
Absolutely,
I think
and
that's important. For
Yeah,
people
that's
to know.
that's huge. Again, being in this industry for so long and doing so much research, I know the supplement industry is not regulated, so anybody can be a supplement guru in less than 48 hours.
I
It's that
think what
easy.
people don't appreciate is, especially when you've heard this for the last 9 years I've had my business, is you don't recognize the importance of my integrity. That I have this integrity that's so important that I don't compromise, because anybody can call me out, especially when we do the All About You show and say,
Right.
George, you promote this stuff, it sucks. No, I've never had that, and I'm blessed to be associated with certain manufacturers that are the best, bar none. So going forward, what are some other things that people can do if they can't order my program, even though it lasts 30 days? It comes with these 4 exercise videos.
And chocolate.
It's very well balanced, and
Yeah.
But if you can't do that, what are some simple things people can do on a daily basis?
Simple things people can do. Lemon water, right? When you wake up, the first thing you do, take half a lemon, squeeze it into a glass of lukewarm water, and drink that. That alkalizes your body. Yes, lemons are acidic to the tooth enamel, but once it gets in you, it is more alkalizing. So we're chronically acidic, which promotes inflammation, which promotes disease. So start the day with lemon water. End the day with lemon water.
Yes.
You can do the same thing with apple cider vinegar. That increases bile production from the gallbladder, by the liver, right? So you do that before a meal. Take a tablespoon, maybe 2, of apple cider vinegar. You add it in your salad dressings, yes, but you can just drink that as well.
Put in what a lot of people have done for many years. Apple cider vinegar. Bragg's is our favorite company.
Absolutely.
It still has all the raw material in it, and it'll make you pucker up. It's quite pungent, and my mouth is watering as I'm saying this now because I have it daily. But it's something that you can have every day. What people will do sometimes is put it in a little bit of water to dilute it, and they will just down it, which you can certainly do. It's very good for you. We are all acidic, and an acidic environment is a dangerous environment. It's one that invites disease. When I say we are all, I am blanketing the masses because of being toxic and also because of the stress we have in our day. Just stress will make you more acidic. Coffee will make you more acidic unless you have that Papua New Guinea coffee that I talked about. So coming up next, there are a couple of supplements that Mo is going to talk about. Astaxanthin, turmeric, how these can help you to eliminate toxins from a certain level, at a certain level,
Right,
because
right.
it's not going to work on your entire body, but it's something that you can use on a regular basis to enhance your health. So we'll do that coming up next. 746 Sports Radio 1310, The Ticket.
Tasting chocolate.
754 Sports Radio 1310, The Ticket. George DiGianni, Train Station Fitness Show. My friend Morris Brosette is here from PlayTry. You want to give your contact info out?
Absolutely. My email address is morris@playtry.com, and my website is www.eatrealandmove.com.
What are we discussing today, and how are we helping people?
Today we're talking about detoxification and cleansing and environmental toxins and pollutants, and basically what we can do to hope to correct some of this stuff, right? We talked about the 21-day body makeover, which is amazing. I mean, I'm on it right now. I highly recommend it, just because of the quality of the ingredients and what it's doing for me.
How does it taste? That was one of the issues
Oh.
we had in the very beginning 9 years ago. Compliancy was an issue because
Right.
it tastes like crap, but it worked.
Well, I mean, and you and I have been in the personal training industry for long time, and we've tasted
Everything.
damn near every powder there is.
Yeah.
And but see, I mean, and I'm not saying this because you're sitting here and to try to make you feel
I know
pretty,
that.
but this is one of the best tasting chocolate shakes I've ever had.
And it's good for you,
And,
which is rare.
and as I'm drinking it, going, damn, this is good. I'm reading the list of ingredients in it, going, wow, this is really good.
Bob Sturm loves it now.
Right.
He said, George, the shakes are amazing now. As a matter of fact, Bob Sturm's on it right now
Yes.
for his like 7th time.
That's perfect. I mean,
Yeah.
I just want to keep drinking the shakes.
Yeah.
But you know, we talked about some things that if you can't do this program, if you can't do it all the time, the little things that you can do. We talked about lemon water, right? That's a great detoxifier. Every day you can do this. Taking a milk thistle supplement, right? You had a show a while back where you talked about glutathione.
Yeah.
Well, one of the great things about milk thistle is it prevents the depletion of glutathione. So
I did not know that.
Yeah. And so it's all these little things you can do, right?
Now talk about a couple of supplements: turmeric and astaxanthin.
Yes, turmeric. Turmeric is a very well-known anti-inflammatory and antioxidant. You can get this in curries, and the active ingredient is curcumin, which is in a lot of Indians' food. So adding curries to your food, adding a little bit of cumin or curcumin or turmeric to your morning eggs or any meal like that is a great way to do this. But it's a great liver detoxifier. It helps promote healthy liver function, and that's the key. If your liver is functioning properly, then everything else is going to work properly.
Or should.
Yeah, exactly. It should work properly. So, but taking a turmeric supplement, they're very inexpensive, but again, the quality counts. So, but this is something you can do on a daily basis. Astaxanthin. This is something, when I say this, people look at me funny. So most people are familiar with
I
fish
looked at you
oil.
funny because it sounded like you said astas blah 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 instead of astaxanthin.
Astaxanthin. So we know that fish oil is very good for you.
Right.
We know omega-3s are great, but the astaxanthin is in the family of algae. Astaxanthin.
Go ahead. In
So-
the family of what?
And algae. So
Yeah.
we're familiar with spirulina.
Uh-huh.
We're familiar with chlorella, which is another one that you can take that's very good at binding heavy metals. But astaxanthin is, I'll keep this short, what gives salmon its red fleshy skin tone. It's what makes a flamingo pink. So astaxanthin is basically the best antioxidant that you can take in your body, right? Again, this is what gives the salmon its omega-3 fatty acid property. So that it's so strong as.
Are you telling us that when we go and we see the red colored meat and the red colored salmon in a store, that it's not food dye? That it's really astaxanthin or astaxanthin?
Yeah. Yes, exactly. That's exactly what it is.
Wow.
And that's the
Except for if it's farm raised, of course. And
Exactly.
That's all food dye.
Yeah, and that's a whole nother topic.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that's it. Astaxanthin, it's huge. It's a tiny little pill. They have massive farms in Hawaii. Is where I get mine. It's a Hawaiian-based astaxanthin, and but it's great. It helps with liver function. It helps with every cellular function in your body.
I want you to emphasize the benefits of chlorella. Samantha takes it. I used to take it. I've just been inconsistent with it. We know that to change your blood, it takes 90 days. Every 90 days you have new blood. And just imagine if you can perform some healthy function consistently for 90 days, how much you'll change. You'll see some really cool pictures. They're blanketed all over Facebook about this female, many people, but one female in particular, where they show her face after, I think it was 90 days of just drinking a certain amount of water every single day, and how it cleared her face up. Just water.
3 liters.
It was 3 what?
3 liters.
3 liters of water every day for like 90 days.
Wow.
That's just water, and that's for clearing her face up. She looked different, not
10
changing
years.
anything else. And so, you know, you just make some of these small adjustments, and you can make a big difference in your life. Go ahead.
Absolutely. So
Good.
chlorella, it's
Half minute.
it binds to heavy metals. It's again in that spirulina family. But this is a great way for sushi lovers, for any people that
Tuna.
eat anything like that.
Swordfish.
Yes. So it's a known binder of heavy metals and toxins. So what we talked about, trying to rid your body of these residues and pesticides, taking something like a granulated chlorella that you can get. We just found online a 3-month supply for $88.
Which is normally 160.
Right. It's going to help you immensely with detoxifying your body on a daily basis.
Right. Right.
So, you know, it's these little things that you can do.
Right.
Are
And
we-
then you still need the big program for all of the organs and glands, but on a daily basis,
Right,
to keep
right.
yourself healthy in between programs. You use these.
Yeah, absolutely. So doing your program is something that's great. I mean, I recommend it to my clients. I'm going to recommend it to my clients. I'm doing it now. I would say twice a year,
Yeah.
minimum, just
Minimum.
because of what we do,
Sure.
right? All these little things are going to help, but at the end of the day, George, we can't fight and combat these toxins and this toxic burden
We're exposed to.
that we're exposed to.
Good.
So,
Morris, thank you for coming on the show today. Fantastic job
Absolutely.
once again. Eat real
And move.
and move.com. Morris Brosette.